Alright, so Transformers 3 last night. I want to talk a little bit about my review of the movie. First of all, I want to say overall, the movie was not as bad as a lot of the reviewers said it was. I thought it was decent. There was a lot of, the action scenes of it were actually really cool. The effects, the CGI graphics and stuff on it, really cool. And I saw it in IMAX 3D, which is also pretty awesome. So I want to talk about some of the things that were weird about it. First off, the new Megan Fox. The new Megan Fox is kind of weird because I went in thinking that she was the new Megan Fox, but it turns out that she is her own character. So it took me about a third of the way through the movie before I actually realized that she is her own character. It's not Megan Fox anymore. Because I was going in with the idea like Iron Man, where Rhodey went from Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle, and I thought like, it's just, I don't think anybody was confused when he came in and we saw it wasn't Terrence Howard. Like, we knew it was still Rhodey, Same thing like James Bond. James Bond changes all the time, but we know it's James Bond. It's not. I'm not watching it like, the newer ones with Daniel Craig going. I thought that was Timothy Dalton, wasn't it? No, Pierce Brosnan. Was that Pierce Brosnan? That's not 007. It's Pierce Brosnan. No. Anyhow, so she is her own character. They introduce her with which was overhyped, the ass shot, like a big shot of her ass as she's like walking up to go hang out with Mr. LaBeouf, and so in there, that was like the introduction of her character, and it was weird because they tried to build a story around her, trying to make like the story deeper about her character and the significance of Shia LaBeouf and what it meant to like lose someone in her family to battle and stuff like that. And it didn't make the story seemed really weak with her. Like, just throw her in and she's the new Megan Fox. But they tried to manufacture like a plot around it like that. Didn't really make any sense. Also, what didn't make any sense to me is at the end, what happened to Dr. McDreamy? Because we're supposed to believe he died because he got electrocuted by one of the pillars, but it never really said he did. We just assume he did. I don't know. It was kind of weird. Okay, so one of the basic plots of the movie is that the spaceship that was leaving planet blah 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 wasn't it the planet? Cybertron. When they're leaving Cybertron, the Autobots plane crashes into the moon, and on the moon on that plane has technology that is vital for the future of the Autobots. And so back in the 60s, the United States as well as the Russians figured out that plane is there, and they wanted to grab the technology from it. So that's what sparked the space race. That's part of the story behind it. And so they get over there to the dark side of the moon to get the technology. So what didn't make any sense is the LEM landed on the moon, and then when it landed, okay, so the moon doesn't rotate; it stays. So there's the dark side of the moon, right? So it's always the dark side. So the LEM landed on the day side of the moon, on the light side of the moon, and then after that, like not too long after that, they said like, oh, you have 25 minutes of no transmission before you come back around or something like that. So it didn't make any sense. Like the LEM is still on the right side of the moon, so they had to like hop over to the other side of the moon, which is the dark side of the moon that has the Autobots ship and stuff on it. If the moon doesn't rotate, that means there's never a time where there's no transmission. It's always. So I don't get what the 25-minute rule, where that came from, or how that. I don't understand. There's always transmission then. Anyway, I'll skip beyond that point. So also, the Autobots decide some planet, they're going to leave planet Earth and try to go somewhere else to try to reestablish their a home base, so to speak, because the Decepticons were winning, and they sort of accepted that Decepticons were going to overtake planet Earth. So they get on the space shuttle. The Autobots get on the space shuttle over in Kennedy and take off And okay, so because that was like their plan to like leave planet Earth and go somewhere else. If why would they get on the space shuttle when earlier in the movie they get the past leader of the Autobots? He was on the plane, so they actually get him from the crashed plane and revive him. So if they had their spaceship to get him, why didn't they just leave on their own spaceship? Why do they need the space shuttle? So okay, so then they get on the space shuttle and they take off, and the Decepticons knew about this because they were with Wiki's watch was telling them what was going on or whatever. It was like they were a little okay. So they blow up the spaceship, the space shuttle, as it was taking off, and then we all think, oh man, that's the end of the Autobots. Now the Decepticons have free reign. First off, I don't know how the Autobots would fit all into the space shuttle. I don't know how it would work. But then later on, they said, "Oh, it was just fake. We hid in one of the solid rocket boosters, and when it departed, then the Decepticons blew up the spaceship, and we were fine. We were okay because we were in one of the solid rocket boosters. By definition, the solid rocket booster is all solid. Where would they fit? And they're fucking huge too. I don't get it. Okay, I don't get it. During the main fight scene, Optimus Prime is tangled in these cables from an overhead crane, and somehow just can't get out of these things. So, like, the Decepticons are winning the battle right now because Optimus Prime can't break free of these cables, and they needed other Autobots to come in to assist Optimus Prime to break these cables that are just holding him up because he can't break free of them and help out in the fight. So he's Optimus Prime. He can't break a steel cable. I thought he during the fight scenes he punches through people's face and stuff. They were like this other Decepticons. Whoa. Okay. Okay. This is a good point that Nathan told me about. So when they're actually doing the shuttle launch sequence or whatever, when they're getting ready for the Autobots to get into the space shuttle to take off for their fake escape when they're hiding inside the solid rocket boosters, they have the crawler, but they have two launch pads. So they have the one crawler that has the launch pad on it, right? And then they also have the shuttle's already on the launch pad. So why do they have two launch pads out there? I agree. I don't understand. This is one of the bigger ones that I had a problem with. I didn't say I had a problem with, but I was very confused by. So during the big sequence where they had all the little pods around that were I'm just gonna tell you the big plot of the movie was like they're gonna transport all the Decepticons over from what's the name of the planet again? Cybertron. after they're gonna transfer all the Decepticons from Cybertron over to planet Earth because that's gonna be their new home, and they're gonna enslave all the people of the world, and so that's what's gonna happen. So they have all these pods up, and it's pretty much like I thought it was like an Event Horizon type of thing, right? Where there's like a black hole, bring them through. Okay, so that's what the overall plan was, and so they had all these pods set up strategically around, and then that was going to happen. So the Autobots as well as the people are trying to get these pods broken apart. So during part of it, one of the pods gets turned off and the beam stops, right? So then everybody sees the planet sort of Cybertron coming closer and closer to Earth. You can see it in the sky, and they're like, oh, we are fucked, dude. Right? So then the thing stops, and it just sort of stops there, right? And so the beam stops. And then Dr. McDreamy comes in there and reactivates it, thus, starting the transport beam again. So then it starts to come closer and closer and closer, and then through a big fight sequence, Shia LaBeouf pushes Dr. McDreamy into the pod thing, and he gets electrocuted, falls over, and then Bumblebee takes it and rips out the thing, the pod out of there, and breaks it. So that at that point, for some reason, when the beam stops, it turns to red, and then Cybertron is eradicated, disappeared, gone. So why in the second time is the planet gone? But when the pod was just off and not working, then it was still sort of like work in progress, pause. But then now when this pod gets like removed, then it's like blah, it gets like exploded. Why? I don't know. Also, in the last near the ending fight sequences, a bunch of Decepticons came from the moon. They were like below the moon's surface, and they came to help out. Were they there the whole time, like for 60 years, just chilling, just waiting? Well, yeah, for like that long, just waiting. Why didn't they help out in the other two movies if they were there? Because they lost in the other ones. Some of the things I did like some of the cityscapes scenes of like downtown Chicago. I thought that was kind of cool, and they also mixed in a lot of shots of downtown Detroit in with that. Also, I thought that was really cool. I also really liked how when the Decepticons shot people, they like turned into popcorn. They didn't like explode. They just like. Anyhow, that was kind of cool. Overall, movie was all right. There were definitely some problems and inconsistencies and questions I had about the movie, but it's Transformers. What do you expect? So, I don't know. Check it out, I guess, if you have 3 hours to waste.